Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle.
I'm Jim, and we are
A Teague of Your Own. Welcome to another Motivational Monday.
Let's get motivated.
Woohoo! Yeah. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and they're awake now.
Yes, they are. It is a gorgeous day out there.
It is. It's best day we've had weather-wise so far this year.
Because it's been so long since we've been in 2024.
Well, we're now, this is March.
Okay.
Yeah,
this is the beginning of March.
Yes. 2+ months into it.
Yes.
And this right here, right now, weather-wise, as far as I'm concerned, is the best day of the year so far.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and we're not even at the peak of the day.
No.
But it's already nice and warm. It feels like spring.
Yeah.
And the thing I like about spring is hope, right?
That's true.
It's life.
Yeah.
Things are, you can see we got stuff outside already starting to bloom. It's crazy.
Are the daffodils blooming?
I don't know.
You don't even know.
I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
So I don't know flowers. You saw me the other night watching that show, The Floor, and the category was flowers, and I was just, I would have just quit before we even started. So, congratulations, you win.
Yeah.
Because I know nothing about flowers. I just have never really cared that much about flowers. I know roses. I know daisies.
Okay.
What else do I need to know? I guess
there's
don't
lots
know.
in between.
Are there? Okay.
Yeah. But yes, it's beautiful out there. Molly was outside soaking up the sun and got nice and toasty.
Yes,
warm.
she's nice and warm.
It's a good day.
It is a good day. So it's definitely enjoying it. I wish that it could be like this most of the year.
Yeah.
And, someday
it will.
It will be.
Yes.
Where we are going to go eventually, it will be.
Yeah. So this week, the quote that we have is by Robert Schuller.
Yes.
Do you want to tell everybody who Robert Schuller is, just in case they're not familiar?
He was the pastor at the Diamond Cathedral, Crystal Cathedral, and that was in Dallas, Texas.
Out in Anaheim.
Oh, Anaheim. Okay. Who am I thinking of? Maybe I'm thinking of Joel Osteen. He's in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And he wrote several books.
Yeah.
And I remember, I want to say it was one of his books that was like the second or third book that I read when I started my growth journey, as I view it. For me, my real growth journey started in 1993. It was, believe it or not, well after I had finished college, got my master's degree, had been out working for a little while. Nobody had ever introduced me to any of this stuff or any of these concepts or ideas. They don't teach this in college.
No,
and if anybody tries to teach it in college, students just ignore them. Yeah. So believe me, I've tried. And it was one of his books, and I can't remember which one it was. I mean, it was Tough Times Don't Last, Tough People Do. I think his name was one of his books, whatever it was. But like I said, it was one of the second or third books that I picked up and read. The first one was Zig Ziglar, See You at the Top. That was the one that, opened my eyes, changed my world, rocked my world, made me realize that there's so much that I did not know, and had a lot to learn. And and he was, in my view, a great man.
Good.
Yeah.
So today's quote that we are focusing on is, I'd rather attempt to do something great and fail than attempt to do nothing and succeed. All right. So one of the reasons why I like this particular quote is because there's action involved in it. You have to do something. Even if you fail spectacularly, which we have seen that happen.
Yeah, we have. We've done it.
Yes, we have. At least you did something. You took some type of action, and you failed. But also, one of the reasons why I like this is it ties into the concept of failing forward. And you and I were talking about this coming October. We've been asked to be keynote speakers for high school students.
Yes, for Interact Club.
For Interact here in southwestern Pennsylvania area.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about what we want to do, and we're thinking that we want to do sometimes you win, sometimes you learn for teenagers. And one of the reasons why we wanted to focus on that concept for them was because a lot of them think that winning, you either win or you
win or you lose, and losing is awful, and there's nothing to be gained from it. And it's all about winning, and and part of that is our society. We revere winners and we abhor losers. Losers, they're either laughed at or they're forgotten. But what?
I think that's interesting because on paper, from the draft 2 years ago, Brock Purdy was the king of the losers.
Yes, Mr. Irrelevant.
He was. People have not forgotten about him, though.
No, and he just played in the Super Bowl.
And
so
he came very close to winning.
Very close to winning. Kind of amazing. But and it made me lose my train of thought there for a second.
You shouldn't have asked me.
Oh, well, I didn't ask. I don't think I asked it. So when people fail, like I said, they're either laughed at or they tend to be forgotten. But what a lot of people don't realize is sometimes those folks that they fail early on, and they learn from those mistakes, and so they keep pushing and moving towards that ultimate goal, and one day they get there.
Yes.
They get there. It's amazing how that works.
Well, and one of the quotes that I remember, I want to say people keep telling me that Steve Jobs said it, but I don't think it was him who said it. That it takes a long time to become an overnight success.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's the reality. Is the people who keep moving forward, who keep learning from the failures. Because one of the things you need to do is you need to fail early and fail often. So that way you can speed up the time it takes to get to where you succeed. But if you're one of those people who is constantly failing and learning from what doesn't work, once you do make it, once you do succeed, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, where did this person come from?
Where'd you come from?
And the reality is you've been there all along. It takes a while to become an overnight success. And that's what happens to people who learn from what doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It made me think of an interview with George Thorogood, the guitar player and singer, George Thorogood and the Destroyers. And he was talking about how, when he was first starting out, not much was happening. He's playing a lot of small clubs, and he had friends and acquaintances, and, they were all looking at him, and, year passes by, another year passes by, another year passes by, still not a whole lot going on. And then all of a sudden he started getting some hits. And he was talking about, he was having a conversation with a friend, and the friend said, what happened? All this time, nothing was going on. And then bang, all of a sudden. And he said, well, what happened was, one bourbon, one scotch, one beer, move it on over, bad to the bone. He said, I started having hits because I kept at it. And, he was aiming for something spectacular, and he got it. Whereas, he could have quit, or he could have just not started at all. Because that's really the basis of this quote is you aim at absolutely nothing. Makes me think of the movie Office Space. Peter's asking Peter, if you had $1 million, what would you do? He said, I would do absolutely nothing. And his next door neighbor says, hey, I got a cousin. He doesn't do anything. He's broke. It's like, there's a lot of people like that. If you don't ever get up and you try, and because there's a lot of people in this world, they're afraid to try something. Right. They're afraid to aim big. I mean, there are so many people in this world playing small.
But that feeds into that concept of if you don't win or you can't win, why bother? If you know going into something that you're not going to win, if you know you're not going to be successful, there are a lot of people that are just like, well, why should I bother?
But how do they know that they're not going to be successful? How do you know unless you try? And I think that's the whole point.
Right.
Is if you don't at least try. It's like last night we went out to eat, and at the table next to us was a group of teenagers from the high school, and apparently they had just finished their run of their spring play, their spring musical.
Connellsville High School.
Was that Connellsville High School?
Yep, they just finished Anastasia, and they were super excited.
Yeah, they were.
they were just, oh my goodness, yes.
And in that group, and this would be cool, some of them were watching. In that group, some of them have some talent.
Yes, they do.
Some of them have thought, maybe I could fill in the blank, be a great singer, be, an actor, whatever. And many of them, even though they've had that thought, what will they do?
They won't.
They won't. They won't even try.
No.
Because they'll say, oh, there's so many people out there and it's so hard and there's no security in it. And man, I don't know. Maybe I'd rather go get that job at the factory where I know I'm going to be able to work 40 plus hours a week, as opposed to going and trying this thing where I might work sometimes, and sometimes, I'll be eating peanut butter sandwiches or loser's lunch, bologna on hand, because, I'm waiting for parts. I'm trying, I'm struggling. They just won't bother, even though they may have the talent.
Yeah.
I mean, we know somebody that we thought had a lot of talent in that area, and they let the world talk them into becoming something else. And I hope they're fulfilled, but I can't imagine. I can only imagine that in the back of their minds somewhere, they have to be saying, what if I would have pursued that? What would have happened? You may not succeed. You may not have the spectacular career you want, but you may have a solid career. There's a lot of people out there who do that.
That's true.
They're not your superstars, but they still do well. And they're doing something that they enjoy doing. And instead they'll opt to, go become an accountant. Oh, nothing against accountants. We need accountants. And if you love accounting, that's great. But there's a lot of people go into accounting.
They could become a banker.
They could become a banker.
They could become, a waiter.
They could. They could.
They could become, I don't know. They could be running a retail store. They could be doing lots of things.
That's true. But the question is, was that their dream?
Mm-hmm.
Was that what they really wanted to do? And if not, why didn't they pursue what they wanted to do? So you're not going to achieve it if you don't pursue it.
Right.
It will not happen unless you go after it.
And that's what this particular quote is about. Like I said, it's about taking action.
Yeah.
It's about moving in that direction. It's about attempting to do something great. And like the quote says, you'd rather attempt to do something great and fail than not do anything and succeed.
And a way to look at this, and I think a lot of people, they don't have the right perspective on it, but the way to look at it is, if you try it and you do not succeed, are you any worse off than you would have been if you just didn't bother to try it at all? And the answer is no. No. So you might as well take your shot, shoot or shoot, right?
I think you're better off no matter what, because at least if you try it, you'll have something to learn.
Right.
And for you have a story.
Yes, for me, I have another story.
You have another speech.
Yet another story.
Yes.
I only have, a couple thousand of those. Yeah.
And for you, that's one of the things that you do. Is
Yes.
You like to collect stories.
Yes. So I will go do stuff. Sometimes I know I'm not going to succeed in the way that other people might view success. Sometimes for me, things that I do, if I make it through and it doesn't kill me, it's a success. If I'm not killed or, permanently, or I don't even want to be permanently, or injured in some way, it was a success. And now I got a great story to tell. Yes, I did this thing.
And it was stupid.
Yes. And let me tell you all about it.
Yeah.
And while you laugh at my misery.
Yeah. Don't do this at home, folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or do. You might get a good story out of it.
One of the things that keeps popping into my mind is our friend Chuck Dietz.
Yeah, Chuck.
Chuck, many years ago, Trans-Siberian Orchestra was looking for musicians, and Chuck sent in a recording of. I mean, he's an amazing guitar player. Okay? He is truly an amazing guitar player. He sent in a recording of him playing his guitar while on a half pipe on a skateboard.
Yes. And the video is out on YouTube.
Yes.
I've seen it. It's insane.
It's awesome. And the truly amazing thing is they didn't ask him to be part of Trans-Siberian
Well, I think
Orchestra.
he sent it in as part of some sort of a contest or something. Yeah.
But
they remembered him.
They remembered him.
Yes.
He went to one of the shows. He got to meet some of the guys, and they were just like, "You're that guy on the skateboard."
Yep.
And so even if you don't get what it is that you are aiming for, you're going to get something out of it. And he got something. They know who he is.
They know who he is. He has a great story.
Yeah, he does. There was a vision board that I created several years ago that had pictures of people on it. And somebody asked me, are those people you want to meet? I said, no. I said, I've already met them. I said, I want them to know who I am. And the cool thing is, I think just about all of them do. At this point.
A lot of them do. Yeah.
So that's what you're looking for. Is you're looking for what can I do to move me closer to that ideal goal?
Mm-hmm,
what can I do to move closer to that success? You're not necessarily going to get it the first time you try. And you might not get it the second time or the third time or the fourth time. How many times did Edison have to try to get an electric light bulb to work?
I think it was 10,000 times. And somebody asked him at one point, what's it like to have failed at something 10,000 times? He said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I just figured out 10,000 ways that it won't work. Mm-hmm. And then he finally hit upon it. Yep. There you go.
Yep. So that's what you're looking for. Yep. That's what you're moving towards. Is you're trying to figure out, okay, this didn't work. Why didn't it work? What can I do differently next time? And that's what you do.
Yeah.
Because that's what you want to continue to do until you get to the point where you succeed.
Right. So if you're thinking about doing something,
take
your shot. Yeah. Take your shot. You won't know unless you try.
Exactly. And when it doesn't work, that's okay. You got a good story. Right?
It's my philosophy.
I know. What if they're not sure where to start? What if they're not sure, they have the right goal? What if people aren't quite sure that they have the right strategy? Who could they talk to?
Us.
Yes, you could. You could indeed talk to us. And what is the best way for them to get a hold of us?
Well, I don't know about a best way. There's a multitude of ways they can contact us. You can see our phone number there, 412-420-7975. Pick up the phone and give us a call.
Or text.
Yeah, or you can text us. Either way, we'll if you send us a text message, we'll see it.
Yep. And
we'll send something back to you. You can also go to our website, atigueofyourown.com. You can send us an email, info@atigueofyourown.com. Yep. Right there. And you can also contact us through our social media pages, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Did I get them all?
You did.
Okay.
And also remember to go to YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. And when you go in there and subscribe, you'll see tons of these lives. The only way to see every single one of them, though, is to go to our Facebook page. Because the first, I want to say 6 months of lives were not on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
They were just on Facebook.
I don't know. They'd want to go in there and watch all of them anyway.
Oh, but they do.
There's a lot of them.
If you want to talk about, trying and not succeeding, go look at some of the
look at the early ones. Yeah.
we're coming up on the anniversary. It'll be just in a couple of weeks. It'll be, the 4-year mark.
We've got a little better at it. A little.
Some of you may be looking at this and saying
maybe not.
Really? This is better?
This is better?
How much worse could it get? Oh, ye of little faith, believe us when we tell you it could be much worse.
Well, and keep tuning in because we're going to have some exciting announcements coming up here in the not too distant future.
Yes, we will. And it'll be fun.
Yeah,
and
some exciting stuff happening.
I think we're going to have some more guests too.
Yeah.
There's some people in the back of my mind. I'm like, ooh, we need to have them on. I think it'd be fun. All right, so let us know, if you need help figuring out a strategy to get more successful. If you need help with your goals, let us know. We are here for you. Have a great week.
Yeah.
Enjoy
the weather.
Yes.
For those of us who have the good weather,
Yeah.
for those of you out on the West Coast who are getting pummeled with snow, welcome to our world.
One of my friends is out there in Tahoe, and he was just like, man, there's a lot of snow out here. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Steve, who lives down in Florida, and he's like lives there in the Tampa area. He's there right now.
Yeah.
And he's just.
I don't think we get storms quite that bad, but most winters we get a lot of snow here. This last couple have been
so nice.
Yes, and this one in particular, I think we had less snow this year than last year. So, and now the sun's out, and here is early March, and it's feeling good.
Yes. So, if you can, go enjoy the weather, and we will see you next week. Bye. Everyone.